everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fabric Fridays with me, Mary Morningstar Johnson from Ruby and Violet Designs. Hi guys, today I'm going to be talking to you about a project that can be on the go, you can do it at home, and it's really fun. And it involves English paper piecing. I don't know if you're familiar with English paper piecing, if you've ever done it. I decided to get into it a couple of years ago, and I'm really glad that I did because you can take it with you, and I know that not a lot of people are really going probably that many places right now. Another fun fact about myself is that before I left my job and started my business, Ruby and Violet Designs, I actually worked in higher education for about 16 years. I actually got my master's degree in higher education, but my bachelor's is in illustration. I went to art school, and so obviously my artistic abilities have always been super close to my heart growing up and then after high school. So it's definitely something that I'm very passionate about. And when I used to work in financial aid, we would go to a conference every March, April, thereabouts. And I took this project with me, and it kind of just sits in my sewing room. It doesn't get worked on a whole lot, especially it hasn't gotten worked on a whole lot since COVID hit, because I haven't really gone anywhere. But if you're looking for a project that you want to take with you, you want it to be portable, you're not going to have your sewing machine with you, this is definitely something fun just to kind of have to the side that you can just grab and go and work on it, make progress. And I'm also going to talk to you about a book that I found that kind of inspired me to make this little travel kit for myself. And then of course I have some beautiful, colorful fabrics to show you guys too. So I hope you enjoy. And one author that I found that just kind of really stuck out to me as being really modern in her approach to English paper piecing is Katja Marek. And this is her book, The New Hexagon. And I love this book because she gives excellent examples of how you can take the hexagon shape and build within it. And I really like that because I like thinking outside the box. How can I make something just a little bit more interesting from what it actually is? And so she really does that with her different shapes that she puts into the hexagons, and she's really pushed the limits of English paper piecing. And another thing that I like about her book is that she gives kind of an overview of the supplies that you need to start building your portable kit that you can take with you when you're English paper piecing. She also gives tons of examples of different blocks and really shows you how you can build within this hexagon shape. She also gives a lot of really great tips and tricks how you can set up your English paper piecing, either to do it by hand, do it by machine, different basting techniques. And so this is an excellent book if you're wanting to start English paper piecing and if you like and appreciate a more modern approach to English paper piecing. I want to show you guys a couple of examples of what I'm talking about building with inside the hexagon. So in her book you can see she takes the hexagon shape and then she'll add like a diamond here around it and fill in the spaces. And so your traditional English paper piecing piece then becomes an array of different pieces within. And so you build that into a quilt and it really stands out. She does more of like a pinwheel, it shows that. There are lots of different ways you can work within this shape. So here is my portable box. I have my extra fabrics on the bottom, And on the top I have all of my supplies, and I keep my book in here too, but I set my book to the side for right now. But it has a little carrying case. I just got this at Joann's, I think, and I like how it's 2 tiers, so I can keep my work on the top and I can keep my fabric on the bottom, but it all is connected together. So in my top part, I keep my hexagons that I work on slowly, but I work on them, and I do get some of them done from time to time. I keep a little baggie with my scraps that I cut off. I keep these are paper templates, and this is what I use to baste my English paper piecing piece around. And I'm not going to give a demonstration how to English paper piece. There are tons of YouTube videos on English paper piecing. I'm just showing you guys how I sort of organize my project and take it with me, and of course the fabrics that I'm using. So anyway, these are my little templates that I use to take my fabric around, based into my little hexagon shape. I take little binder clips. These are great for if you need to hold, if you're working on it and you're just needing to hold that last fabric piece down, or if you're not wanting to use a glue basting, these work great. They're also binder clips, so you can use them if you're finishing the binding on a quilt too, because a lot of people hand bind their quilts. So most quilters have just a ton of these lying around. I keep my fabrics that I use, that I have cut out to make my hexagon shapes. So you just use that, and then you go around and you baste your quilt piece together. I have pins, have my glue stick. This is just, the brand is Sewline. It's just a fabric glue pen, or yeah, glue pen. It's just like a glue stick basically, but it has a smaller diameter to it, and so you can really use it to baste if you want to use it to baste and hold your fabric down that way. It's blue, it dries clear. Occasionally I use it, it depends on what it is that I'm doing, but usually I just kind of hold my fabric and baste it down with thread. Then I have my thread and my needle, and I prefer Aurifil thread. You can get it at most every quilt shop. I was not sure about it, but you can just feel it. It's so soft, and it just glides through the fabric when you're hand sewing. And I was a little skeptical at first, but I've actually been pleasantly surprised, and I definitely recommend Aurifil thread if you're going to be doing any hand work, because it just goes through that fabric so quickly. It doesn't catch or pull, or there's not a lot of resistance towards it, and so definitely try Aurifil thread if you haven't. I think you might be pleasantly surprised like I was. It's a little bit more expensive, but definitely worth it for a project like this. And so that's the top part of my box. So on the bottom part of my box, I keep my fabric, and that's what I'm really excited to show you guys, the fabrics that I guess compiled over the last few years. If I see a fabric that I think fits in with this color palette, I buy it and just kind of stick it in the bottom of my box. None of the fabrics are the same brand, same line, but they all have a certain color palette to them. And the color palette is a very primary color palette. Of course, I have green in it too, but a lot of red, yellow, and blue. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with Yves Saint Laurent's the Mondrian dress. I love that dress. It is, you know, just through sewing and being interested in fashion and quilting, but there is just something about the primary colors that just really grabs my attention. And so that was sort of my focus for starting this English paper piecing project, because when I get it done, I want to be able to look at it and really see those primary colors. For this project, it's kind of an experiment slash I don't really know what I'm going to end up doing with it, and so I saw fabrics that I liked, and I've just been collecting and buying as I go. So here we go. Okay, so the first fabric that I'm going to show you, this one is designed by Coco Lee, exclusively for Joann Fabrics. But look at how graphic and colorful and beautiful this fabric is. And even though it has, you know, pinks and greens in it, I feel like the red and the yellow and the blue really stand out in this fabric. And so I saw it, and of course I knew that one was going into this quilt in some way. Another one designed also by Coco Lee, it's a bigger floral, but when you cut down into the smaller hexagon shapes for this one, you really get very different, very interesting blocks with it. And so doing a bigger print for a project like this and then scaling it down into those smaller pieces can almost make the fabric have even a little bit different of a feel than what it looks like as a whole. So that's something to think about too. I also bought from Joann's just some fat quarters that I saw that the colors were kind of what I was looking for, and I knew that they would make some neat blocks. And so this one is just a fat quarter from Joann's. It's got kind of a lime and a teal and yellow in it, and it's a good, so I'll have some busier prints, and then I'll also have some more solid prints to kind of offset and give your eye a resting point in the quilt. And then this color of teal, it has a slight print in it. This was also just a Joann fat quarter, so if you go into Joann Fabrics, usually under the cotton fabrics, they have just a row of the fat quarters, and so you can just, they have them color coded, and so it's kind of easy to see, oh, that's a color that I want. Now I do have two Moda fabrics that I saw in a quilt shop when my husband and I were traveling a couple years ago, and the colors in them really matched, and it's from Moxie for Moda, and I loved the colors and the bigger prints, and it's just gonna fit really, really well into my quilt. And then here are two more just fat quarters, just a lime green and a yellow, because I love this lime green accent in the quilt. And then these two fabrics are springtime fabrics. I'm not as familiar with that brand of fabric, but I love these two, and I think that they're gonna fit well in my quilts. But this one has more of the red, yellow, and blue to it, and I think it's a really great pattern to add into it. And then more of a simple red, it's floral, but from far away it can almost have a little bit different of a line work feel to it. So anyway, those two springtime fabrics I think add a lot to my quilt collection too for this. And I'm still shopping fabrics. I'm still on the lookout for more red and yellow and blue fabrics. So if you guys see any really great red, yellow, and blue fabrics, I would love for you to comment on this video and let me know. I'd love to check them out, so definitely let me know. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode of Fabric Fridays with me, Mary Morningstar Johnson from Ruby and Violet Designs, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye.